Act 1, the final lap that shook the world. Abu Dhabi, December 12, 2021. Two drivers, one title, one lap to decide everything. Lewis Hamilton, seven-time world champion. Max Verstappen, the 24-year-old challenger. One chasing legacy, the other chasing destiny. And then, the crash. Nicholas Latifi hit the barrier, triggering a late safety car. Five lapped cars stood between the two title contenders. According to the rulebook, all lapped cars should have been allowed through, or none. But then came the decision. Only five cars would unlap themselves. The five between Hamilton and Verstappen. Suddenly, Max was directly behind Lewis, and Max had fresh, soft tires. Hamilton had old hards. In one moment, the entire season, and possibly F1 history, tilted. The safety car pulled in, and on the final lap, Max Verstappen dove into turn 5 with the kind of move that only a few in history would dare. He took the lead, he took the race, and he took the championship. Formula One would never be the same again. Act 2, built from blood and pressure. Maximilian Verstappen was born to drive. His father, Jos Verstappen, once raced for Benetton alongside Michael Schumacher. His mother, Sophie Kumpen, was one of the greatest female karters in history, a world champion in her own right. This wasn't just a racing family, it was a racing lab. At just 5 years old, Max was already pressuring his father for his first go-kart, a full year before Jos had planned. The moment he got behind the wheel, it was clear. This wasn't a kid playing. This was a future predator being forged. Act 3, the brutal training of a champion. Max's rise wasn't fueled by fame or sponsorships. It was forged in cold mornings, broken parts, and pain. Jos Verstappen trained his son like a soldier. Rain, Max stayed on track. Snow, Max kept driving. If something broke, Jos didn't fix it. He let Max figure it out. He needed to feel when something was wrong. He needed to read the machine like a second language. He was karting in Belgium, France, Italy, and Germany. Not just winning, but destroying fields. By age 15, he had already won 3 championships in a single season, a record that even his father couldn't touch. He wasn't just fast, he was aware, resilient, ruthless, a boy who learned to swim by being thrown into a storm. Act 4, the teenager who skipped the rules. Max Verstappen was just 16, and he was already outgrowing Formula 3. He had just won 10 races, including 6 in a row, setting records for youngest pole sitter, youngest race winner, and the most buzz around any junior driver in years. But Verstappen didn't take the usual path. No waiting, no Formula 2. Instead, he skipped the line entirely and joined Toro Rosso, Red Bull's junior team, becoming the youngest Formula One driver in history. His debut, riddled with mechanical issues. But his second race, 6th on the grid, 7th at the flag, first points. Another record, youngest driver to score points in F1. The world now had its eyes on him, and they wouldn't look away again. Act 5, the warrior in Red Bull colors. In 2016, Red Bull made a bold decision. After just 4 races, they replaced Daniil Kvyat with Max, putting him in one of the fastest cars on the grid. And in his very first race for the senior team, the Spanish Grand Prix, the impossible happened. 2 Mercedes drivers, Rosberg and Hamilton, collided on lap 1. Max Verstappen, 18 years old, was suddenly in the lead. With veteran Kimi Räikkönen breathing down his neck, Max defended like a veteran. No mistakes, no cracks. He crossed the finish line first, the youngest Grand Prix winner in Formula One history. But the fairy tale soon turned into friction. Verstappen's aggressive style became a global headline. Dive bombs from impossible angles, last-second blocks under braking, elbows out, even against champions. Other drivers protested, fans argued, and the FIA, for the first time, changed the rulebook. From that point on, moving under braking was banned because of one man. Verstappen had forced Formula One to adapt to him. Act 6, the Senna moment in Sao Paulo, Brazil. The heavens opened over Interlagos. Rain poured. Cars spun. Race control debated stopping the Grand Prix. But one driver drove like the rain didn't exist. After a late pit stop, Verstappen dropped to 16th place with 15 laps to go. What followed was described as driving from another planet. Max passed 12 cars, many of them spinning off or backing out in fear, as he carved a wet masterpiece through the field. By the final lap, he was third, on the podium, and in the hearts of millions. Even in Brazil, where Senna's name is gospel, the crowd stood and cheered for Verstappen. The comparison was no longer a stretch. This wasn't imitation. This was a new rain god being born. ACT 7, the moment that broke the world. The final lap. Abu Dhabi, 2021. After a year of intense collisions, wheel-to-wheel fights, and pure mental warfare, it all came down to 3.2 miles. Hamilton led. Verstappen followed. Old tires versus new. History versus hunger. And then it happened. Turn 5, Verstappen lunged. Late, sharp, bold. A move that could have ended the race, or ended both their careers. But Hamilton saw it coming. He gave just enough room. The Dutchman was through. The lead and the championship were his. Hamilton came back down the straight, a slipstream, a closing gap. They nearly touched, but Max held the inside, defended the exit, took the flag. World champion, the youngest to ever do it. A title won in a storm of controversy, but one thing was undeniable. Verstappen had arrived, ACT 8, the first of his kind. After 2021, many thought the hunger might fade. Instead, it ignited something even deeper. In 2022, Verstappen crushed the grid. 15 wins, a new single-season record, a championship secured with races to spare, a points gap of nearly 150 over Charles Leclerc. Then came 2023, a massacre. Red Bull won 21 out of 22 races. Verstappen alone took 19 wins, 21 podiums, and shattered records that had stood for decades. But in 2024, the storm began to slow. Other teams caught up. Red Bull's off-track controversies spilled into headlines. And Verstappen? For the first time in years, he looked human. 5 missed podiums in the final 7 races, whispers of decline, doubt creeping in, but still, he won the title. 4 in a row. No luck, no excuses. Just a driver with steel in his veins and war in his eyes. Outrow, he's not the next. He's the first. Max Verstappen isn't trying to be Senna. He isn't Schumacher. He isn't Hamilton. He isn't Clark. He is what happens when you take the feel of Jim Clark, rage of Schumacher, instinct of Senna, dominance of Hamilton, and combine it in a new formula. He isn't the next anything. He's the first Max Verstappen. Final call to action. Let us know, is Verstappen already an all-time great, or does he still have more to prove? Subscribe now, because this channel doesn't just tell racing stories, it documents the birth of legends. And if you want to see what true talent looked like 60 years ago, check out our documentary on Jim Clark. Streaming now.